Today, we're diving into Claressa Shields because a couple more clips have just surfaced and they're starting to get people talking. One of them involves 50 Cent, and I'll check that one out later to see if there's anything worth breaking down with y'all. But in this video, we're focusing on the newly released clip DJ Vlad dropped, in which Papoose speaks on Claressa Shields and whether he's actually intimidated by her. And honestly, listen to this. It feels like we're watching something that's more performance than reality. I can't help but feel like this is all staged energy, like it's giving more smoke and mirrors than genuine conversation. It almost seems intentional too, right? You've got Papoose sitting there doing this interview wearing glasses, which makes it harder to read his eyes and really gauge what he's thinking or feeling. The full interview itself runs about 2 hours and 10 minutes, and for now, it's locked behind a paywall. Personally, I'm just going to react to whatever clips DJ Vlad decides to release publicly. And now we're finally getting into material that goes beyond just the repeated 50 Cent mentions we've seen in other clips. Even though 50 Cent still comes up here, it's not the main focus this time. So with that said, let's get into it and break down what's been shared so far.
Things went quiet for a little while, but then 50 started trolling Claressa, claiming that he had damaging Ring camera footage of her and this guy named Maserati Bud during Christmas. Did you and Claressa ever have a conversation about this guy, Maserati Bud?
She told me about it. She told me about it beforehand. Before he even did the shit that he did, whatever, on social media, she told me about the situation. So I already knew about it. So when he came, playing those games, I think it was self-explanatory. It spoke for itself. You know what I mean? The dude already said that they never was intimate. He never had sex with her. He already admitted that. So once again, just like 50 did with Big Meech. Oh, I got the paperwork. What happened to the paperwork, bro? It never came out.
Not even 20 or 30 seconds into Papoose's response, and boom, he's already bringing up 50 Cent. Hold up, because this clip was supposed to be centered on Claressa Shields, but it starts to feel like the focus is shifting in another direction entirely. In my opinion, this comes off less like a discussion about her and more like a deeper fixation on 50 Cent and the surrounding drama involving Remy Ma. That's the energy being read here, and it's hard to ignore. Now listen to this. This reaction is also being built off what's described as a manipulated audio clip that Claressa Shields played for her audience. The issue is, we still don't actually know who the woman in question is that Maserati Bud didn't sleep with. For all we know, it could involve another party entirely, especially since Maserati Bud has claimed to be polyamorous. And importantly, we never hear him explicitly say those exact words, like, Claressa Shields and I did not have sex. That statement never directly comes out of his mouth. So that raises the bigger question. Was this easily influenced by what was presented, or was there a deliberate decision being made to stand firm and present a united front around the situation? Either way, there are layers here, especially when you consider possible financial interests tied to it. Let's keep going.
Whole new chapter.
Right, yeah. But just to answer your question, yes, she told me about it beforehand. So when he went and did the sucker shit he did, which was cap, because the dude said it himself that nothing never happened. It was a clout chase. 50, when I dropped Agent Provocateur, he didn't know what to do. His man is on the call saying, if you listen to it, I don't know if you listened to it, on the same call where he admitted that, they never did nothing, he also said, the man back is against the wall. Talking about your man Curtis. Come on, man, the man back against the wall. The man is digging. He didn't know what to do at that point because it had him fucked up.
Well, Claressa responds, calls Bud a weirdo, that was stalking her, trying to get out the friend zone, and so forth. And there's all these text messages that go back and forth and so forth. She claimed, like you said, that they never had sex. She never even sneezed on him. So was this a guy that was trying to talk to her?
He said it himself.
What's the backstory?
I don't know the dude, so I can't sit here and tell you, you know what I mean? I don't speak on him like that. I don't know him. I don't speak on dudes I don't know. What I can tell you is, she brought it to my attention. She told me about him, the situation or whatever, what it was. So when 50 pulled the stunt that he pulled because he didn't know what to do when I dropped Agent Provocateur, we already knew that he was gonna do some corny shit like that.
Hold up. Papoose isn't even giving this whole Agent Provocateur tour any real attention, and that's the point being made here. The claim is that he's not showing genuine concern about Claressa Shields or this Maserati Bud situation at all. But listen, if this involved Remy Ma or someone like Easy the Block Captain, people are saying his energy would be completely different. And that's where the contrast becomes noticeable. Because we've seen how Papoose reacts when something truly hits a nerve. His tone changes, his delivery changes, everything shifts when he's actually emotionally invested. So the argument here is that his lack of reaction suggests he's unbothered, and that's being interpreted as everything from detachment to calculated positioning. In that lens, some are framing this whole situation as more of a PR-style connection than anything deeply personal. Hold up, others go even further, suggesting it's like an entanglement-type dynamic, where outside factors could be influencing how things play out publicly. And then there are the specific claims being brought up. Text messages where Claressa Shields allegedly reacted after finding out Maserati Bud had other connections, plus supposed receipts showing timelines of interactions. These include mentions of them being seen together at a strip club in August 2024, arriving together around Labor Day in September 2024, location sharing messages on Thanksgiving, and even time spent together at her home in Atlanta during Christmas. Now listen, all of that is being used online to build a narrative, but the interpretation is where things start to get debated heavily. At the end of the day, the takeaway being pushed here is skepticism, questioning what's real, what's exaggerated, and what's being framed for public perception. And that's why the discussion keeps escalating, because people feel like they're not being told the full picture.
And make it seem like more than what it was. As you can see, what he claimed, it never came to fruition. So I'm just pointing out to you the tactics that he uses, when he's in a position where he don't know what to do. Same thing he did, in my opinion, the same shit he did with Meech. You know what I'm saying? He put dirt on that man's name, and he never produced what he said he had on that man. And nobody held him accountable for that.
Well, didn't Claressa say that she's suing him at this point?
She did, because you gotta understand. You know what I mean? And like I said, she's her own person. She's a two-time Olympic winner. She's a black woman. She's a role model and a mentor to so many young children out there.
So let's keep it real. Depending on how serious that Ring camera footage is, it could even be viewed as revenge content. Let's break it down. Right, depending on what exactly that camera captures, if it involves explicit moments being shared without consent, then that falls into the category of releasing private material without permission. Now, if Maserati Bud has footage of him and Claressa Shields sharing intimate moments, like kissing or getting close, and I'm talking about everything that Papoose has been referencing in this interview, along with what Claressa has previously addressed in conversations with The Breakfast Club and Angela Yee, then that completely shifts the narrative. All it would take is for Maserati Bud to release that kind of receipt, showing those interactions, and suddenly, a lot of the discussion people are pushing starts to fall apart. And in that moment, all of these claims could lose credibility, because the visuals would speak for themselves, which is why the situation feels so volatile. But what stands out is how Papoose is carrying himself in all of this, because it really seems like he's pushing forward with a certain level of confidence right now. He's coming across like he fully stands behind what he's saying, and some people even question whether he truly believes the position he's taking. At the same time, it raises a bigger point about how Claressa Shields is being viewed in the public eye, especially when people label her as a role model for younger audiences. The concern being raised is how that image aligns with the idea of her being involved in a public entanglement with a married man over an extended period, where there are claims about delays or resistance around finalizing a divorce. It creates a complicated picture where public perception, personal choices, and ongoing relationships all intersect. From an outside perspective, it almost feels like both sides are aware of the attention and narrative surrounding the situation, and that awareness may be influencing how things are handled publicly. And that's why people keep tying this back to broader questions about image, relevance, and how much of this is being shaped by what's happening in the spotlight. Let's continue.
I don't gotta go on and on with her accolades. She has a strong, powerful brand that's very influential to young girls and to black women out there. You can't just go out there and say she slept with somebody that she didn't sleep with. You can't make false allegations like that. So, you know what I mean? She doing how she feels suitable. Her and her team, because she has a very powerful team, they handling that how they feel it needs to be handled.
Well, did she send him a cease and desist, or did she actually sue him? Because there's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not her attorney. I can't really speak on that, but I do know.
Okay.
I do know she's handling that how she feels suitable, man. Because you know, bro, you can't go out there, man, and disrespect women. These are women. You can't do that and don't expect them to react. Because women are very emotional. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Claressa is Claressa Shields. She's who she is. She's a warrior. She's amazing. She's a phenomenal queen, man. You know what I mean? That speaks for itself. She's a fighter.
I feel like everybody is being played and misled right now. You know what I'm saying? Hold up, Papoose. If Claressa Shields truly has a strong, positive brand that inspires young girls, then why is she openly displaying this situationship with a married man, meaning you? If both of you actually cared about reputation and image the way you claim, a divorce from Remy Ma would have already been finalized. But instead, it looks like you and Claressa Shields are being compared against Remy Ma as if there's some kind of silent competition happening, like you're trying to prove a point to Remy Ma. And honestly, people aren't really buying that narrative, number one. And let's pause. How do we go from the earlier clip where Vlad asked whether Claressa Shields was suing 50 Cent and you said yes, then in this clip, the answer shifts, and suddenly there's clarification about the difference between a claim and a lawsuit. You even say you don't really know and that her attorneys are handling everything. So it starts to sound like you're not fully informed on the Maserati Bud situation either, and that these responses might be carefully framed PR talking points to present the united front with Claressa Shields. And listen, don't come at me with the "she's a black woman, let's be respectful" angle as a shield, because when your own actions toward your wife Remy Ma are being questioned, that argument doesn't just automatically shut down criticism. At the same time, you're publicly seen with Claressa Shields while still legally married to Remy Ma, and yet there's no finalized divorce. And don't point to that filing from May last year as if that settles everything, because where are the actual divorce hearings? Where are the progress updates or status hearings? Where are the required steps like parenting classes, considering you share a minor child? Where is the final divorce decree that legally confirms you and Remy Ma are single? So at the end of the day, it's hard to talk about disrespect coming from others when the situation you're in still hasn't been fully resolved on a legal level. And this whole narrative has been going on longer than the issues people associate with Easy the Block Captain and Remy Ma. From an outside perspective, it feels like the patterns keep repeating without a clear resolution. And that's why people are saying you and Claressa Shields are constantly at the center of ongoing controversy. Let's continue.
But she's still a woman, bro. And when you're disrespecting a black woman like that, whatever comes with it, you got to deal with it. Especially when you lying on their name. Especially to just lie. I think it was something else he did with another female R&B singer where he lied and said he had sex with her, and it never happened. The truth came out later, so that's on him, bro.
When this was going back and forth, I tweeted, you know, it was a lighthearted joke, basically, where I said, do you think Papoose is scared to break up with Claressa Shields? And you hit me right away. You're like, yo, man, did you get hacked? Was that you? And I was like, no, that was me. Come on, man, I'm joking. Come on. I'm not disrespecting anybody.
Nah.
When your girl is like the greatest female boxer of all time, I think that, you know, a violent situation is something that most men would consider at some point. Not to say that you guys have that kind of relationship, but I'm just saying most men are not scared of girls, but I think a lot of men aren't scared of Claressa. Right?
Nah. I mean, that's how I am, bro. If I see some shit on the internet, if I know you, like we got a relationship, I'm not about to fucking dish you on the internet. I'm going to contact you, whether the text or call. Like I know Sula would be like, yo, bro, what we doing here, man? Like, come on, man, not you, man. I expect these weirdos on the internet, not you.
Right?
I can't take Papoose seriously when it comes to talking about honor, respect, or morals if the situation with Remy Ma still isn't legally resolved. Hold up. Miss me with that moral high ground when the divorce still hasn't been fully finalized, because from this perspective, it comes off like a contradiction, and that's where the frustration is coming from, especially when people feel like the reality doesn't match the message being presented. At the same time, there's also the question of why DJ Vlad hasn't directly addressed that point more openly, considering how public the situation is. Some people are pointing to reactions and body language in the interviews as telling more than the words themselves, suggesting discomfort or hesitation. And based on that interpretation, it's being used to support the idea that there's more going on beneath the surface than what's being said outright. Now listen, there's also this claim floating around that Papoose may be hesitant to fully step away from the situation involving Claressa Shields because of concerns tied to public image and past experiences. Some argue that if financial or reputational stakes weren't involved, decisions might look different. But that's speculation being discussed online, not something that's been formally confirmed. What's clear is that this entire narrative is being viewed through the lens of perception, relationships, and legal status, all overlapping at once. People are connecting dots based on what they see publicly, whether that's interviews, social media moments, or ongoing relationship dynamics. And that's why the conversation keeps intensifying, because everyone is interpreting the same set of events in different ways. Let's continue.
Some time back, there was a picture that surfaced of Claressa, and she had your name tattooed under her breast, right?
Yeah, man, definitely.
So all I'm saying, and I'm joking about it, right? But I'm also not completely joking because, you know, I've gone through relationships and everything else like that, and I've had, you know, relationships that went bad and so forth. But you're older than Claressa. She's a bit younger than you, and she seems really, really in love, right? When someone's tattooing their name, so you know that there's a significant other's name on them, that shows a level of love and commitment that you don't see very often. And all I was saying is that if it actually did go bad at one point, you know, do you think that there's an opportunity that things could get violent from her end, just from her being so heartbroken?
Well, first of all, you know, the love goes both ways, man. Same way she loved me, I love her the same. You know what I mean? And as men, we gotta lead by example. That's the way for you to receive that level of love from a woman. When you're genuine like that and authentic, they can sense that as opposed to you being fake and a fraud. So when you see me getting that kind of love from her, you know, it's a reflection of us, of our relationship and our union that we share together. So I love her the same. But no, as far as getting violent, no, man, I would never hit a woman, bro. Ever.
Well, no. I'm not saying you're hitting her. I'm talking about her hitting you. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm more worried about.
Once again, Vlad, you get what you put out. I lead by example, bro. You know what I mean? As a man, your woman is always going to be, you know what I mean, a reflection of you, bro. If that's your woman and she's dedicated and devoted to you, she's going to be a reflection of you. Now, if she starts dealing with somebody else, you're going to see reflections and signs of that. But I lead by example. Like I said, I would never even attempt or think about putting my hand on no woman. You know what I mean? Claressa is the champ, though. Let's not get it twisted, right? So, you know, I don't want you to think I'm ignoring that, but I'm just being honest. No, bro, never that. No, you know, that's not going to ever happen. No. It's funny, though.
Have you guys ever just like play fighting, like slap fighting, you know, in the house and stuff like that?
I'm in training camp with her all the time, bro. I'm holding the pads with her. We fuck around all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
So what you're telling me, Vlad, is if you was in a relationship with the champ, one of the greatest fighters ever, you would be like keeping your eye on her, like you would be a little nervous.
I would be a little worried, man.
Hold up. Papoose keeps preaching about leading by example, but what exactly are you leading, Papoose, if you haven't even taken the step to fully divorce Remy Ma and finalize things, and you're moving toward Claressa Shields before everything is legally settled and you're actually single? That right there is not what leading by example looks like. Instead, it looks like someone who can't seem to release his wife. It comes across like someone stuck in an entanglement, holding on while trying to move forward with a mistress because, in his view, there's no better option available. And then there's this whole idea that your woman reflects who you are. So you were out here promoting the black love narrative with Remy Ma while you two were still together as an active married couple, right? Because now, technically, you're an inactive couple, but still legally married, correct? So when you say your woman reflects you, that's the standard you're standing on, Papoose. Now listen, look at the way Claressa Shields has been speaking publicly about black women online, including cursing people out in DMs and comments across social media, reacting strongly to almost anything Remy Ma does, and even centering 50 Cent in what's being described as an alleged cease desist that, according to Geisha 305, never even reached his desk. Instead of addressing Maserati Bud, who many believe actually holds the real receipts and information, Claressa Shields has chosen not to engage with him at all. But you're still saying she's a reflection of you? If that's the case, then that raises questions about whether you're also being perceived as disrespectful, inappropriate, lacking values, and lacking strong character, and whether the image you promoted with Remy Ma was more of a curated facade than reality behind closed doors. That's the message some people are taking from this situation. Because as long as Remy Ma was aligned with that black love image and willing to present that narrative publicly, it helped maintain a certain perception, even if the reality was more complicated than it appeared.
At this point, many are suggesting Remy Ma was the central piece holding that public image together, at least from a branding standpoint. And publicly, you were expected to stay in line with that narrative, to keep everything looking polished and intact. But the woman is a reflection of you. That's the phrase being repeated. So when Claressa Shields continues to face criticism and negative attention for her statements, behavior, and public interactions, and when her personal brand appears to be taking hits, some people argue that it reflects on the environment and the influence surrounding you. They claim it suggests a lack of concern for reputation, branding, and long-term image management. From their perspective, the way Claressa Shields is presenting herself doesn't align with someone who is consistently professional, reputation-conscious, or widely perceived as genuine and composed. Instead, critics describe the situation as chaotic and inconsistent. Some even go as far as calling it inauthentic, exaggerated, or misleading. You guys, that's where this discussion stands right now from this angle. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. Don't forget to tap in and support the video if you're following the conversation. Drop your thoughts below because this is one of those topics people clearly have strong opinions on. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're enjoying this type of breakdown. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted the moment new content drops on this channel. And with that being said, I'll catch you all in the next one very soon.